Have any of you, so like, you know the video that we had to watch?
Yeah.
Do you guys, or any of you like go to school on campus?
Mhm.
Yeah, I do.
So the guy that was like facilitating that like group therapy or the family therapy thing, he's a teacher on campus and he's like one of my teachers right now. So it's so weird to see him. I was like, oh, Brother Williams.
Yeah,
Really?
I was a teacher my first semester. He's pretty awesome teacher.
Yeah, you had him too? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's so great. He's like one of my favorite teachers.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's.
And like, did you take Family 160 from him?
Which one is that about? I can't
Uh,
remember.
it's pretty much the same class that we're taking right now. It's like we learn all the same. It's like the same readings for Family 160 and Family 360.
I can't remember what it was. I think it was like family relations or something.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Family
Yeah,
Relations.
yeah. I took
Yeah,
that like my first semester, and I loved it. It was great. So
yeah, yeah. Because he designed, Brother Williams designed the class that we're taking right now, 360.
I figured he did because a lot of the stuff looked similar. So
Yeah, and a lot of like the readings that we do are like his research and like some of the videos and the PowerPoints that we've watched, like you can hear his voice like
yeah,
talking about stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think that's funny. I'm like, oh, Brother Williams, I get to have you twice as a teacher pretty much. He's like, oh, you must be sick of me.
Nice.
Camille, what did you do to get onto the phone call? Like, what did I do differently than before?
I don't know exactly what I did. I
Did
think
I?
I got a message from you or something that you like had invited me. It like came up on the side of my screen that said like you had invited me to a call. So I clicked
Mhm.
on that and yeah.
Because they're both texting me, and I've sent them both like 5 invitations, the same way I invited you to, and they're
Uh,
saying not. Are there not two invite notifications on the side? Sorry, you guys.
No, you're fine. I assumed this was
last
going
time
to
I had a
happen
problem.
anyway.
Yeah, last time I had a problem. Like they kept sending me invites and I never got them. So
Yeah,
I don't
same
know.
here. It took us like half an hour last time to even get started.
Man. Is there a way I can like send the link to them?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm looking right now. Well, what did you do when you added me, Hannah?
I just resent you an invite.
Oh,
Are they here? No? Dang it.
Yeah, I just had to click on like the little quotation marks on the side so that the chat box would show up on the side of my screen.
On the
hmm.
two quotation marks. This is so hard. I don't know why it's doing this.
We need two more people.
Yeah, Gabby and Sarah. I'm gonna text Sarah again and be like, "Are you good? Are you live?" I feel like there's so many readings for this class.
Yeah, it's mostly reading. Like that chapter 6 that we have to read today, that was like, I felt like it was like 40 pages.
I know. I'll be honest, I didn't read it word for word. I kind of like
I never
read
read
the
word
book,
for word.
read a little bit of it, you know.
hmm.
I read like, oh wait, He's gonna see this because we're filming it. We can start over. I read all the parts that like said what's it called? Like the methods that the counselor should use to like promote the resilience and protective mechanisms and stuff in the family. But I didn't. This is weird. This is what they're seeing on their screen. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like the quotation marks thing.
Are they on?
I don't know. Refresh.
Oh, they have them.
Hello? Hi, Sarah. It's okay. That's weird. Huh. Do you know how to get on the chat, which is on the Google Hangouts Plus like homepage, where you click on the green quotes on the side? I sent a link in that little chat thing as well. I'm gonna try and email you guys that. Like under, if you go to like on the plus.google.com/events page, because it'll tell you what events are going on that you're invited to. So you go to plus.google.com, so just Google Plus. And then on the sidebar, it says Home, and if you click that, there's a drop-down menu. And you click either, I would click Hangouts actually. No, go back to that actually. This is so confusing. Events. Do you see that? Oh, no, you're good. So you click on that drop-down menu, and then you click Events, I think. And then it should say, oh, it's like a calendar. And then, at least on that page, if you go to the far right, underneath your like icon of your picture and the notifications, there's like two people. Well, actually, there's notifications, and you can click that, and it says like how many invitations you have. Do you have any invitations on that bell?
Oh, hey,
Hello, everyone.
Gabriella's here.
Okay. You found something? Are you watching it, or are you about to join it? No. Okay. I'm gonna stay on the phone with you as you. She's about to come in, you guys.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Man, this is so hard. I don't know why it was like so easy last time. Sarah, you're here.
Okay.
Cool. Bye. Like,
Sweet.
yay!
I don't see her face. I just see a blinking S. Oh, wait.
Sorry. No, I'm right here. 1 second. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
All right, welcome everyone to the video call. I'm glad that it worked out and that none of us are going to get screwed on the project. So, so Gabriella is going to facilitate our discussion, and Sarah, who said they were going to be scribed, Camille or Sarah?
I did. Unless
Okay.
someone else did. I don't know.
Yeah, you did, Camille. Okay, cool. So you will just write down kind of a summary of what we say, and then at the last 15 minutes of this discussion, you're going to tell us what your summary says, and if we need to add to it, we can, and if we need to take away from it, it's fine. And then Elise is going to submit it.
Okay.
So you can just send it to Elise, and then we'll just have her send it. Yeah. Cool. All right. Is everyone prepared?
Yes. Oh, quick
prepared
question. How did you find where our conversation was? Like, to submit our conversation, like our video chat?
Oh, so it's being filmed right now, and it says it's a broadcast. And
Yeah.
so if I think I just give him the link, correct?
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I will send you the link, and then you can add that to the bottom or whatever
Okay,
in the
perfect.
comments.
Is that what we're supposed to submit in the discussion board for this? I don't get what the discussion board
I think
that's
only
open there is for.
one person has to submit, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, one person submits, and then
So that would be me.
I think the discussion board is just a weird thing, like a glitch. I don't know. I can
Okay.
even about that.
I was just like, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm ready to start. Are you guys ready to start?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, it says to take turns talking about the points you identified, both the overt references and the more subtle ones. So the one that I felt like was pretty obvious is that everyone came in blaming Jimmy as the problem.
Yeah, but then like at the end, I think, they were able to uncover what
Yeah.
the core of the problem is. So like some of it had to do with Jimmy, but a lot of it had to do with like each individual person not communicating
Different
with each other.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone had their own, like Jimmy was just kind of feeling attacked in a way.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to be the one that got the brunt of the problem.
Yeah.
And anyone else have anything to say about that?
As to overt,
Yeah, I have one other idea of what I thought, but I just was wondering if you guys want to throw anything out there.
I have more subtle ones.
You have more subtle ones? Okay. Anyone else for an overt example? Okay. So I thought the little sister was pretty hostile towards.
I kind of thought she was a little bit of a brat, but
But I think, that was what was overt, was that she was worried about him and was kind of taking on that more motherly role. But I guess the more subtle thing that I felt like might have been a problem for her is that he was getting a lot of attention towards this. And I don't know, that wasn't really discussed in the discussion, but moving to a new place and then having your best friend or your brother being the only person that you know and not having that support there, I think you would feel left out a lot, not just by Jimmy, but by the parents too, because all the attention is going towards Jimmy.
I feel
that's
like
more of a
Jimmy
subtle one.
felt the same. Like
What was
Jimmy,
that?
I think Jimmy felt the same, but in a different way. I feel like
Okay.
for him, he felt like his sister was becoming the mom and like on the side of the parents, while the parents weren't on Jimmy's side. So he felt like the whole family was against him
except
instead
for
of like
his dad.
yeah, his dad was
I
like
think-
slightly on his side.
yeah, like the dad didn't really choose a side. Like I thought, like I was kind of getting annoyed with the dad a little, just because like I felt like he wasn't like I don't know, he wasn't being a father. He was trying to be. I felt like he was trying to be the son's friend in a way, but I don't know.
No, I think that makes sense. I
Yeah.
felt like the dad was like almost trying to just stay out of it. Like,
Mhm.
you
He's like,
know,
oh, as long as
not
the cops don't bring him home, whatever. I'm
yeah.
like, okay, that's not how you handle this.
And the poor mom is like freaking out, probably enough for the both of them.
And so
So,
I feel like if he were there, like if he was, supporting his wife, she probably wouldn't freak out as much because she's having to be the mother and the father, I feel like. And so I feel like if the father was like parenting Jimmy, then she wouldn't freak out as much.
I agree. Does anyone else have any examples for that question?
I was just gonna say, I think like, the dad kind of puts the mom down too, like, during he's like saying that she freaks out too much or whatever, and I don't think that was necessarily a good thing, just because, I mean, maybe it needed to be addressed, but, like, he was really negative about it, like, wasn't like, I understand where she's coming from, it was more of like, she's making way too big of a deal about it,
Yeah.
Well, you need to support her, like, I don't know, basically what's been said, but just, yeah, anyways.
Because the harsher she is, the less likely Jimmy is going to want to communicate with her. And he's going to feel attacked. So, like, I don't know, when people are attacked, they tend to not want to, I don't know, they tend to shut down. And so I can see why, like, Jimmy responded the way that he did.
Yeah. And what were some of the subtle ones that you found, Hannah?
Colin, I have to unmute and find my thing.
Oh, you're fine.
Someone can go while I'm looking this up. I have one thing that I wrote.
Camille, do you have anything?
So what exactly is the question that we're addressing?
It's the first one. Take turns talking about the points you identified, both the overt references and the more subtle ones.
Like, specifically how the family was handling it, or the therapist? Okay.
I think it's
Either
kind
one,
of
I think.
overall, yeah.
Okay. Because I kind of was just trying to apply some of the principles I saw in the text. So one of the things in the text that kind of talked about just normalizing the situation, helping the family realize that these experiences are not abnormal. And so I think Brother Williams did a great job of helping the family understand that Jimmy was just a normal teen, that he was kind of going through that process of becoming an adult and not really knowing what to do, and kind of being stuck in between not wanting to be stuck at home with so many rules, but able to have his own freedom. And he also was able to normalize the fact that the parents were having a hard time adjusting, because it's hard to have your son become older and not be so aware of what he was doing. So.
Right. No, I thought the therapist did a great job of normalizing the whole process. Like, from the beginning, he built that rapport with them, and I felt like he made everyone kind of comfortable. I mean, he got weird at some points.
Yeah.
That's just how he is, though. So I've taken classes from him before, and Brother Williams is just so weird.
But he was really nice. So
yeah,
yeah.
he's so weird. Like, I love him. He's like one of my favorite teachers, but he definitely gets a little weird.
It even talks about that, though, in the reading, that, like, humor and the making them feel comfortable is part of, like, having that open range of feelings, and that, like, I think that's what the what's it called? The term is, the open range of feelings. So, like, he created that open emotional expression atmosphere in which anyone could share their feelings. And
Exactly.
so even the husband was like, you overreacted and went crazy when you yelled at him. And I was like, that's a strong term. But
Yeah,
I guess that's how he feels. And
one
like,
thing I liked, oh, sorry.
you're fine.
One thing that I liked about, like, Brother Williams was that, like, he tried to connect to each one of the family members. Like, when Jimmy was saying, oh, I like to skateboard, he's like, oh, yeah, I used to skateboard, but I had, like, a stone wheel. And, like, he tried to, like, joke around with them and make them feel comfortable. So each thing like when the father talked about liking NASCAR, Brother Williams talked about like Jeff Gordon, and so like he tried to connect to each one to make them feel comfortable.
Hmm. And he even like asked for Jimmy's perception of it, and I loved that because his parents had no idea how Jimmy was feeling. That by being yelled at, for him that was him seeing like his parents not caring for him, but to his parents that was he doesn't care and we care about him.
But he does care. Like it hurt. Like he was even talking about. He's like it's so sad. Like he's like I'm sad that like I can't get along with my family. And so like he does care. He does want a good relationship with his family. He just doesn't know how to get the message across.
Okay.
Something I saw was in the like therapy session was it kind of relates to the reading, the story of I think the father and son, and the father, they just didn't really understand each other, and the son thought that the dad was like trying to control his life and like stuff like that, and that he was always disappointing his dad, but really the dad was thinking, he's such a great boy, I want to help him get to this place, And so I think therapy brought, well, in that situation and in this one, which they kind of said at the end, it kind of brought emotions that people didn't realize to the surface. Like, does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
Jimmy leaving the house because he felt hurt, but the mom sees it as he's leaving because he doesn't like us, he doesn't want to spend time with us. So seeing the same situation differently. And so going to therapy can help bring out how everyone sees things. And yeah.
Right.
It's so cool.
All right. Are we good with this question, you think?
Yeah, I think we can probably move on. Yeah.
Okay. So then I have... Oh, well, we've been kind of doing this as we've been discussing. It says, note the trends of your findings as a group. Did everyone identify the same points, or were there points that not everyone caught? Did you go over everything you wanted to, Hannah, with the more subtle points that we might have missed?
I have a couple ideas that like are just from my head. I don't know, but
yeah.
A lot of them I really focused on the Rudder's like 4 protective mechanisms thing.
Okay.
And Brother Williams definitely helped Jimmy with like focusing on strengths and potential. It says on the 4th one, I believe, that he said like, Jimmy, you're a key player in the family. Like what you do or don't do energizes or like negatively affects the family. And I think I saw like a visible change in Jimmy once he heard that, because he felt important all of a sudden.
And validated, yeah.
There's a reason why we're here, because I'm an important member of the family, instead of being like the problem of the family.
Right.
And he started showing him like that he's becoming an adult and that he has all this potential, and if he would just have his parents trust him more and work together to form a solution like for his career path and for their understanding each other right now, like he would be able to kind of reach that potential almost, and that gave Jimmy hope, I think. And
yeah, for sure.
I think finally just he didn't make them come up with a plan on the spot on how to like make Jimmy get home on time or be more communicative. Sorry, English is hard. About like what he's doing, but he said, I want you guys to sit down and make a plan together. And I think Jimmy was a lot more open to that when he was like, well, if they hear me out, I can make a plan with them, and they can also, we can compromise, basically.
Yeah. Besides Jimmy, but like I talked about how they kind of hit some different problems within the family. I think part of it, I mean, obviously, was the move from Nebraska, and just all the change. But how do you think it affected the parents' relationship, particularly? I mean, at one point they were sitting apart, and then he like physically moves them together, and it seems like that's the moment when they stop being hostile towards each other. Like before, that's when he was like, you over exaggerate and different things like that. But as soon as he put them back together and moved people closer, they were nicer to each other.
I think that was pretty interesting, though. I actually noticed that when they walked in. I made like a point to notice, because like in other classes that I've taken, we talked about how when couples walk in, or like when a family walks in, you should pay attention to how they're situated and how they're seated. And like I noticed that the father and the mother weren't sitting next to each other at the beginning, and I was like, oh, that's probably because there's tension in the relationship. And so when Brother Williams like put them together, I was like, oh wow, like just even that alone helped a lot, because then like, you know, they started holding hands and he started putting his arm around her, and I think that helped them connect a little bit better. And so I don't know, that's just one thing I noticed at the beginning, that they just weren't like connected.
Right.
Yeah.
They weren't a team.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Jimmy being in the single chair and the other three were on the couch. I noticed that.
He was kind of set apart from everyone.
Yeah, and I think he's doing that as much as they were, you know. Like, he wanted that chair. He didn't want to sit on the couch.
Right. He wasn't going to situate himself on the couch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry guys, I'm on campus right now and there's a guy playing the drums, so I'm sorry if you can hear that.
No, you're fine. Let's see. So was anyone surprised by the findings or observations that they made? I think we just kind of talked about one of the more surprising ones, but
I don't know, like I wouldn't say I was surprised. I just like was validated, I guess. I don't want to say validated, but like the predictions that I made at the beginning of the video were kind of like brought back, because I was like, oh, I bet like this is like with the parent thing when they walked in, like I was able to understand and do that. But I don't know if I was surprised by anything. I was surprised that, I don't know, like I thought it was like kind of crazy when at the beginning of the video Brother Williams was like, oh, so tell me why you guys are here today. And they were kind of like, you know, not wanting to say it. And then all of a sudden the sister was like, Jimmy. We're here because of Jimmy. And I was like, oh, that's kind of harsh. So that kind of surprised me. I was like, I don't think I'd be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to rat my brother out in that kind of environment.
In that setting.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many of you have been to therapy. I haven't been to a family therapy.
I have.
You have? I have too.
Yeah.
So I feel like an environment like that, you just like spill. Like it's just like made for that. And so you like come prepared, even though you're scared.
And like I liked though, you know, because once you're comfortable, you're able to do those kind of things. And I felt like they were comfortable enough to share what the key problem was. And I guess like they were there because they want to solve their problems with Jimmy. And so like if they're not being honest with if you're with the therapist, you're not going to get anything done.
Right. All right. Anyone else have anything for something that surprised them?
I guess what surprised me was the fact that the mom took like the criticism on her yelling so well, and because she knew she was doing that, and she was like, yeah, I'm actually acting out of character when I do that, but I do it because I don't feel supported by my husband, and I feel like that's the only way I can reach my child, you know. And
if my husband were to call me crazy, like he called her crazy, I was like, I would not like that if he called me crazy in front of everyone. I would have been so offended, be like, who are you calling crazy?
But even Brother Williams handled it so well, though. He was like, so do you feel like that's acting out of character for you? And as soon as she said that, he was like, that's out of character. This isn't you.
This isn't you. Yeah. I like that.
And like I like how he related it to a mother bear, like a mother bear protecting their child. Like
he was definitely an advocate and in defense of everyone.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
I also like oh, sorry. He just like let everyone vote. He's like, who likes the yelling and who feels good with the yelling? Everyone's like, none of us do. Like, we all hate it. So
I would like that.
That made them all a team all of a sudden, because they're like, wait a second, we don't like this.
None of us like,
none of us like this. We're all together. Yeah.
Yeah. Then that's like what family's all about, anyway.
Perfect. Okay. So then it says, Discuss and record how a treatment professional or a paraprofessional might prepare to capitalize on such opportunities to introduce or reinforce the types of resiliency factors from Walsh's article. I feel like one aspect that could definitely be profited on and introduced more into this family is communication skills. Being an effective communicator. I can't remember exactly. I have it right here. I feel like even when they first came in, it was like silence, and that might have been nerves, but I mean, they had a hard time. He really had to help them through the communication. Oh, maybe I can't find my note. So that's kind of what I had down. Does anyone else have another factor that they might need to work on?
Well, other than communication, maybe just like, well, they said that they used to like camping, and they used to like doing like outdoorsy things together. And I like that Brother Williams said, oh, like maybe you guys should go do stuff as a family, like you guys should set a date, and then brother and sister date, and like things like that. I think one thing that they need to do is be connected again through those activities that they all love to do. Because obviously you can go camping in Rexburg. There's no reason why you can't. I've gone camping in Rexburg, so like I think that, you know, if that's something that they love to do, they should continue doing that. Because I bet, like, we don't know what their life was like before Rexburg, but it seemed like they were pretty happy in Nebraska. So if they can find those things that they love to do again, they could be connected.
Which I didn't even know how to use it until
And even like the purpose behind that was for just understanding each other again, because it wasn't just about doing activities together, it was like spending time and communicating, like you said. And I liked how he focused on the parents need their date and the siblings need their like time together as friends, and then Jimmy needs time with his parents for like career planning, and so like every single person needs time with a specific person in order to foster that relationship and connect it.
For sure.
I don't know, when you were just saying that, I mean, I don't think I really caught on to this until you just said something, but I feel like Jimmy was almost like trying to ask for help, but in an ineffective way from his parents.
Like he was almost like, you know, his rebellion was almost like a cry for help.
Right.
Like, if my rebellion is the only way my parents are going to notice me, then this is what I have to do.
Right. And I think that's part of what, I mean, communication, it goes back to communication again, because they were all giving each other these different signals and signs of different things that were wrong, but they weren't communicating it, and so things were just getting lost or blamed or different things like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyone else want to speak up?
I guess one of the things I thought was interesting was that he pointed out that the women were a lot alike and the men were a lot alike. That the women always like speak out, and then because they speak out and share their emotions, then the men tend to like hide and like withdraw themselves. And so in this reading and also in some of the previous chapters, you kind of learned about the cycle of, I guess, family interactions. That one thing will cause another and it continues on. But then he kind of turned that around and like made it into a strength. So he kind of said, hey, you boys kind of have this connection. Maybe you can understand each other and kind of build on that relationship. So I thought that was kind of cool that he turned something that could have been a weakness and he made it into a strength.
Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
Is it bad? Like, sometimes I just don't have anything to say. I don't know.
No, you're fine. I feel like I did this really fast, so I'm like worried that it's like hasn't been a lot of time and we're like already wrapping up.
Is that the last question?
Yeah.
We can go back through it again and...
Yeah, let's do that, just because we are supposed to meet for like an hour, so...
Yeah. Okay.
And we can see what we missed, like kind of go back to our notes and just share any insights that weren't covered.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going through those right now just to make sure I don't miss anything. I don't know. I think overall, I don't know. I really enjoyed that video that we watched. I think that was probably one of my favorite activities that we've done so far. Just because like reading the case studies kind of gets
Boring.
a little old. Yeah. So like it was something fresh that I liked. And it was because like marriage and family is something, like being a counselor is something that I want to do, and so it was nice to see that even though it was just like obviously it wasn't a real family, but it was nice to see like I think it was just handled really well overall.
For sure.
I just saw a section on clarifying ambiguity. Ambiguity? Wow.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how it's important to clarify for their understanding of like the crisis for the family to be able to cope effectively afterwards. And so once Brother Williams helped each one understand the crisis that as individuals they were facing, because as the spouse, the husband, he was like shutting down because his wife was going crazy. And not crazy, and then the wife was feeling misunderstood, and then Jimmy was like, my family doesn't care about me because every time I come home they yell at me. And then the sister also had her own crisis of saying like, my brother's changed and he's gonna get into drugs and stuff. Once Brother Williams helped each person see the other people's perspective, that ambiguity
that
was,
word, yeah.
I don't know, I can't say it today, was like significantly lessened, and there's like that connectedness that Fromwell Walsh refers to that was re-established, I guess. I don't know.
No, I agree. I feel like I gave a lot of my notes. Okay.
I have something, Gabriella, while you're
Okay.
looking. So something I noticed was, I think, well, I mean, this might be kind of obvious, but just showing their love, obviously, in a different way. But like in the session, in the guess it's Brother William. I don't know who that is, but when he asked the dad to turn to Jimmy and tell him why they're worried about him coming home late and things like that, I think the dad could have done a better job at saying, like, we're worried about you because we love you, but he never said love. Like, he never even brought that up that they love him, that they want him to, that they're worried about him because they want him. It's more like, we're worried about you because we don't want you to get into bad stuff. And I think it would be important for them to, like, express their love more in the family.
Can you repeat the last part, Sarah? And Elise, can you mute your microphone for 5 seconds?
Yep, sorry.
No,
My
you're
bad.
fine. Just the drum right now is going off.
Just like, I think it would just be important for them to express their love more as a family. Just, yeah, the example of the dad talking to Jimmy one-on-one in the therapy session and didn't even mention that. It was just like, yeah, we're worried about you. Like, well, okay. So.
Thank you.
Just for a definition for Camille, for like her summary, I found the word that I guess I was trying to use, reframing and relabeling. So Brother Williams was able to say certain things like acting out of character instead of like going crazy in order to cast their entire perception of each other in a new light. And he also like relabeled Jimmy's actions as a cry for help, like Elise was saying, instead of like antisocial acts of, acting against his parents and the community and stuff. So.
Awesome.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So kind of going through my rating notes from the practice principles and guidelines, and then thinking back towards the video, do you feel like they came in thinking this was going to be like an intervention for Jimmy almost, and then, I mean, obviously it turned out to be something more, but I mean, I guess what do you think their whole the goals were for the family when they first came in?
Yeah, I think kind of like you said, I think they kind of came in expecting Brother Williams to just say, hey, Jimmy, you need to shape up because your family's upset with you. Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of probably what the family was hoping for. And I don't think they quite realized that each member of the family was contributing so much to the problem. That it wasn't just Jimmy's problem, but it was everyone as a whole not communicating properly.
Awesome.
Like, they all had their own expectations on how it was going to end. And that's why I think the sister was so rude at the beginning by saying, he changed a lot and he's completely different now and he's a bad kid. Like, because she was expecting that to be the diagnosis for Jimmy instead of believing that he could be misunderstood.
Right. Do you think, I mean, I don't know. Do you think she was kind of like trying to save her own skin with that too? Like,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to phrase that in a more technical term.
To
but,
cast herself in a positive light, like to make her look good.
uh-huh. Like, I'm not the problem here. This is the problem.
And I feel like she played off of that with her parents because she was always the one telling them like what was wrong with Jimmy. And it's not like her underlying intentions were bad, just like what came with those intentions, like, is what was bad. Like being sided with her parents and stuff.
I agree. Okay. I'm running out of notes here, guys. Does anyone else have any insights or anything?
Another thing that I found, I think it was at the beginning of the reading, it kind of talks about that as a therapist, you have to kind of view it as everybody is doing the best they know how to do for the situation. So they're not trying to cause a problem in their family, and they're not trying to make people feel like they're not loved. And I think Brother Williams did a really good job of kind of addressing that and helping everybody understand that, hey, Mom is just yelling because that's the only way she knows how to get across her point, but it's not working, and so then everybody else is getting upset. And so, I don't know, he just did a great job of showing that everybody's really just trying to be understood. The only problem is that it's that nobody is understanding each other. So, anyway.
Yeah, he did an awesome job at that. I have really felt like he was, like I said, an advocate for everyone. Yeah, I think you said it there. Does anyone else have anything?
Just what Camille said was like kind of what I just read about praising efforts and achievements is what Brother Williams did. He said, like, little sister Maddie, like, you were doing this because you were worried about your brother, and he was showing the good part of her and saying this is why that was good. And then, like, Jimmy, it's he didn't like condone his actions by saying like it's good you stayed out to curfew to show your family that you needed help. Like, he also said, you know, like, you want your family to be understanding of you and you want them to show that like it hurts. And although that was vulnerable for Jimmy to admit, he was able to
get his message across.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to like bullet point the I guess the results of this first discussion, family therapy discussion, what do you think were the outcomes for each, or not for each person, but just in general, different bullet points that maybe they're going to be working on.
I think maybe the mother is to not be so, like, I don't know, I think I'm understanding your question right. Like, the mother to not be so, like, crazy, I guess, but to, like, try and understand where he's coming from and try to relax and just not be so, like, overprotective.
Sorry. It's not muted either. Okay. So I think that they understand that they're a team and a family unit now. And at the beginning of the reading, it said it's important for them to realize that they're a system that operates, and it's like kind of like the family systems theory, where it's not just the problem of one person, it's the struggle between persons. And so they have to see that they're a team and that they can work it out together. Just because as they were talking and sharing their feelings, they were better understanding of each other. And so if they just have that attitude even without Brother Williams being their facilitator all the time, they're going to have success in their family just by sharing kind of and planning together, especially the parents. Sorry for my roommate.
You're fine. I'm sorry for the drums.
Okay. Let's see. Does anyone else have any, if you were the paraprofessional or the professional on the job, what would your recommendations be for this family?
I think that they need to spend more time together.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Doing
need
those
to.
family activities again?
Yeah, I just think that they, I don't know, and communicate. Maybe they should have like family council meetings,
Okay.
just so like maybe like every once a week, just so they can like reevaluate everything that's been going on in the week and just kind of like, oh, this is what I want to do this week and this is what I have going on.
No, I agree. That's, I mean, just that communication alone. It's really basic, but I think that would get them going in the right direction, and then they'd also maybe be more, not willing, but yeah, I guess willing to like set up those dates with each other and make time for each other. Maybe they'll see, oh, you know, we've been doing a lot of things with friends, like Jimmy. I've been doing a lot of things with friends right now. Maybe I need to spend a night with Maddie doing whatever. But I think that's a great suggestion. Does anyone else have any suggestions?
Along with that, I just like how Brother Williams emphasized that they don't talk about their problems, they talk about normal things on those dates. Like he said with Maddie, ask her about like what it's going to be like to be a senior. Don't talk about the problem between you, because he emphasized that they have only been talking when there is a problem, and that's been like the only interaction between Jimmy and his mom, at least, has just been the yelling. And so if they like, it's not just spending time together, but communicating about like things that you know are different than just like their differences, I guess, than their problems. And
One of the things that I thought of was Dad kind of mentioned that he wasn't really spending much time at home, and Jimmy pointed that out too, like, hey, Dad's never home, so why does it matter if I'm home? So I think if the dad made more of an effort to be home and be a part of the family, that would make a big difference. Because he kind of like right now is like, hey, this isn't my problem. And maybe he's even spending more time at work because when he comes home, then his wife is just yelling at him about Jimmy, and there's no good relationship there. So maybe it's causing him to actually spend more time at work, and it's making the problem worse. So I don't know. I think if he spent more time at home, one-on-one with everybody in the family, that would definitely make some improvements.
So would you recommend maybe like more of an effort of them working on their marriage by themselves, or would like maybe marriage therapy, or do you think just going out more and being together more would be better?
I think I would just start with spending more time together, and then if it was still a problem, then yeah, I think therapy would be a good thing. But I think they would see improvements already just by making the effort to spend time together, express their love for each other, and just talk about something other than Jimmy. Talk about themselves for a change.
I think one important thing is they need to be more connected as a team. And so I feel like just doing like all those things that you just mentioned, they could become a team more. Like they can become more of a team because that's what marriage is about. It's like about becoming a team and helping your children succeed.
Mm-hmm. From a counselor's perspective, I noticed that a lot of them have filters, so like they perceive everyone's actions in the way that they think they should be. And so like even Jimmy said, yeah, like his mom and Jimmy said, I don't want my parents don't want me to become a screw up. So he automatically had this perception that his parents had these expectations and he was failing them. But for his parents, they were just worried about him. And so if they just got rid of if they were aware of their filters and always did like a check, like, okay, what filter am I using right now? Am I actually seeing my husband for what he is, or am I assuming that his shutting down is like not caring about me, or is he feeling hurt? So it's just like evaluating the way people react instead of just
Right. It's this class that we did the mood log, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they would benefit a lot from that, especially the mom. Like you said, she's filtering a lot, and those distortions. I mean, she's the one who, I mean, her husband's the one who called her out on it, but she agreed that she was acting crazy. And I mean, that's already an over exaggeration and a distortion of herself. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Hannah. Anyone else?
What time did we actually start? Because
It was like
I don't,
8:15.
Yeah, I think it was 8:15.
so we've done it for 45 minutes, so do we want to do like the debriefing now?
going over the summary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Okay. So my notes don't make perfect sense because I was trying to jot things down. So feel free to tell me to add things or whatever, and I'll do better at categorizing everything and writing it out nicer. But so so everyone came in blaming Jimmy as the problem. But by the end, they were able to uncover the core of the problem and their miscommunication. The little sister was hostile towards the brother and the situation. She was taking on a motherly role. She may have been jealous that he was getting all the attention. Her brother was the only one she really knew when they moved to Rexburg, and then he began distancing himself, so that must have been hard for her. Anything to add to that so far? Okay. So Jimmy feels that his sister was becoming kind of like a second mom, and everyone was against him. His dad didn't really choose a side; he was kind of neutral, and he was just kind of trying to stay out of the situation. And maybe if he had been more involved, maybe the wife wouldn't have yelled and freaked out so much. And also, we kind of pointed out that he kind of points out that she's, freaking out and going crazy, and we're just kind of shocked by that response from him. We also pointed out that Jimmy was shutting down the more and more that Mom got upset. We talked about normalizing the situation, how each member's response was normal for what was happening, but not necessarily the best way to react. We talked about using humor and how that kind of gave a safe place to talk about feelings, and everybody could talk about their own perspective. Brother Williams tried to connect and joke with each individual, and he took the time to get to know each one of them and what they like to do in their own time. We found out that the mom thought Jimmy was leaving the house because he didn't like anyone, but they found out that Jimmy was actually leaving because he was trying to make a point that he was hurt and needed help. We talked about the 4 protective mechanisms. Talked about Jimmy was able to recognize his potential when Brother Williams told him that his choices can energize or really affect the family. And so he kind of changed at that point when he realized that he really did matter. We talked about the move from Nebraska affected the parents' relationship. We talked about how the family was sitting when they first came in and how that was kind of an indicator of the current relationships in the family, how mom and dad weren't sitting next to each other, and Jimmy distanced himself by sitting in the chair alone. We were kind of surprised that the sister ratted out Jimmy right from the beginning and kind of was putting him down and trying to make herself look better, so maybe she didn't get in trouble, or I don't know, whatever her perspective was. We thought it was interesting that the mom took the criticism so well of everyone kind of saying, yeah, mom's going crazy, and she just acts out. And but she was able to take it well and say, yeah, I act out of character because it's the only way I know how to get my emotions across. We thought that communication skills were important and that maybe they could be emphasized a little more. And this could be done by setting dates like Brother William suggested with the mom and dad, and also with Jimmy and dad and Jimmy and the sister. We talked about clarifying ambiguity so that it's sorry, I'm trying to figure out what this is. We talked about that it's important to understand the situation before coping can happen. So the family had to come to realize what exactly was happening with each person before they were able to move forward and be able to cope with the situation. We talked about that the dad could show his love better, that he kind of wasn't really taking a side, and he didn't ever say that he was worried because he loved Jimmy. He just kind of said, yeah, I'm a little bit worried, but didn't focus that his worry was because of his love for Jimmy. We talked about reframing and relabeling, specifically that mom wasn't crazy, but that she was just acting out of character, and Jimmy's rebellion was just a cry for help. Talked about that everybody's doing their best under the circumstances, that everybody wants the best for the family, but they just didn't know how to communicate effectively. And we talked about Brother Williams praised everyone for their efforts and achievements. It kind of made everybody feel like they're important and they were trying to do their best. Some of our recommendations was that the family spend more time together, have family council meetings, they could talk to each other about other things other than Jimmy not coming home at a decent hour. So like talking to the sister about being a senior, or talking about how to have a good career. Talked about the dad could spend more time with the family, that the family needs to be more of a team. Also that each person needs to be aware of their filters, and that maybe mood logs could help people understand what their filters were and see what the distortions were. And we said some of the outcomes of the the therapy was that the mother could understand what Jimmy was feeling and maybe change her actions, and also the family was able to understand that they were a unit and a team, and that the struggle isn't just for one person but the whole family. Sorry, that was a lot of stuff. That's everything.
You got
No, it's
everything.
good. Yeah, you did get everything. It's good to have a lot of stuff though, because the more stuff we have, like, the better. I don't know. Like, the more stuff we have, the better it is. So, good job.
Yeah.
That was
Good job,
incredible.
Camille. Yeah, better than what I could do.
And it all made sense, too.
Yeah, it
definitely.
did. It all made sense.
Maybe even better sense than what we said, so that's good.
I don't know about that, but
Yeah, good job.
a little bit. So
If you want, like what we did for our last Google Hangout was we just uploaded a Google Doc that all of us could edit on so that you could just copy and paste, and then we'll kind of all put it together into a summary instead of, because that's a lot of information for one person to try and condense.
Mhm.
And so,
Especially when they're not
And this
all
is-
just your thoughts.
yeah.
So
and it's
all
like-
this,
Go ahead, sorry.
all the stuff, like all of this is due Saturday, right? So I'll submit it Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So do we want to do a Google Docs
Yeah,
document?
I think that's smart. I'll be out of town starting on Friday at noon. I have a word camp out, but
If we work on it tomorrow, too.
okay, sweet. So I'll add my contribution by then.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
and yeah, also I'll post it either probably later tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll try to make a few more edits on it just so it makes a little bit more sense.
Okay.
And then you guys can format it or tell me how you want to format it or whatever.
Perfect. And all our emails are on the discussion board thing from chapter 9. That's where I keep getting them from, so
Okay, cool.
just share it with us through that. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys, and
Yeah, thank
for
you.
everyone doing their jobs, and you're great.
Thanks for getting us all together, Hannah, and the texting.
That was so hard. I'm so sorry.
No, that was really helpful.
Oh man. Okay.
Okay,
I'm
good
glad
night.
we're done. All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. See ya.